Hey there, tired parents. If there's one thing that comes with having a baby, it's advice. Lots and lots of advice. As a mom of five with my youngest just 15 weeks old, and as a pediatric sleep consultant, I've heard every sleep tip, trick, and old wives' tale out there. And I've tried most of them too. The problem? So much of what we hear about newborn sleep is actually completely wrong. These myths not only make sleep harder for your baby, but they pile unnecessary guilt and stress on you as a parent. Today, I'm busting the 7 biggest baby sleep myths that I hear all the time. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's true, what's false, and what actually works for helping your baby sleep better. If this is your first time here, I'm Annie, owner of Mom's First Steps, where we help new moms enter motherhood with support and confidence. I'm glad to have you here and to be able to share everything that I wish I would have known as a first-time mom. Before we dive in, if you're struggling with your baby's sleep, I've created a comprehensive newborn sleep guide based on science and my real world experience with 5 babies of my own. It's yours for free and includes all my sleep tips and sample schedules from birth until 4 months old. Just click on the link in the description of this video to get your copy. Now let's dive in. Myth number 1, never wake a sleeping baby. This is one that I'm sure every single person watching this video has heard before, and it is one that is repeated so many times that perhaps it just might become true, right? Wrong. There are actually many times when it might make sense to wake a sleeping baby, and some that I personally do as well myself. So first of all, you might wake your sleeping baby because your pediatrician recommends it. And of course, that's always a really good reason. So when all 5 of my babies were newborns, their pediatricians recommended that in their first couple of days and weeks that I wake them at least every couple of hours to feed even overnight, and certainly also during the day. So again, this is one you'll always want to follow the guidance of your pediatrician. Typically, for what I've personally experienced, the guidance has been keep waking baby until we know that they're off to a good growth pattern, that they've gained weight. Sometimes there's a specific weight that they want to reach. Sometimes it's doubling their birth weight. So of course, if your pediatrician recommends that you wake your sleeping baby, you should definitely go ahead and do that. Now, there are other times outside of what my pediatrician recommends that I've learned works best for me and my babies that I also recommend to others as well. And that is to wake baby for feeds at least every 2.5 to 3 hours throughout the day. Now, this helps with something called day and night confusion, which can happen if your baby doesn't know the difference between nighttime and daytime. It also helps make sure that babies are able to perform their number one most important job, which is to grow. And to grow, they need to eat and to sleep. And so making sure that they get plenty of feeds at regular intervals throughout the day, especially when their newborn tummies are so tiny, they can't hold much milk, is a really good way to help your baby perform their number one job, which is to grow. Wake them up from sleep if needed to make sure that they are eating frequently. Myth number 2, if you keep your baby awake, they will sleep for longer. So I definitely fell into this trap as a first-time mom, and it makes sense, right? Because for us as adults, if we have a really long, tiring day, if you wake up extra early or you stay up late at night, you may be more likely to have a good night of sleep or to fall asleep quickly or to not wake up overnight. That is not the case with babies. So for babies, if they become overtired or you keep them up for too long, they are less likely to have a good sleep. They're going to fight sleep because they're so overtired. It can cause their stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to increase, which does not help them fall asleep. They're also more likely to wake more frequently throughout the night. So don't fall into this trap of trying to keep your baby up later, thinking that it will help them sleep better. It's actually the exact opposite. So make sure you're following wake windows that are age appropriate. You are looking for those sleepy cues. If you're not sure what those are, I have another video on 10 newborn sleep tips that will definitely help you learn all about those things and what are the things you should be doing and looking for to make sure that your baby doesn't become overtired. But definitely don't let that happen because it will not help them sleep better. It will actually make them sleep worse and wake more frequently. Myth number 3, sleep when the baby sleeps. So I've heard this one so many times, and anybody who says this and repeats it has not had the experience of actually caring for a newborn while also juggling all of the other things that you need to do in your life. So this one frustrates me personally as a mom of 5. It's kind of crazy to assume that just because your baby goes to sleep that you're going to be able to fall asleep too. It fails to recognize all of the other many things that a mom might need to do to take care of the baby, right? So washing the bottles, washing the baby clothes, doing laundry, taking care of yourself, eating, doing any shred of self-care, like even a simple shower, right? When are you supposed to do all of those things? Really the only time that you can do them is when the baby's sleeping. Additionally, this issue gets compounded if you have other kids in your family or a household to maintain or anything else, any other types of priorities that might take some of your time and attention. So this one, while I think it's well-intentioned, is to, oh yeah, go ahead and just get all your sleep while the baby sleeps. The reality is far from that. So what actually works instead is make sure you're working with somebody that can help support you to make sure that you're getting enough sleep to function. Those first couple of weeks can be really hard. So whether it's a spouse or partner, a loving, family friend, I was lucky enough once we moved closer to family with my later 3 babies to have the support of my mom, who was a big help to me in these first early days to help me get enough sleep while, whether or not the baby was sleeping, just having someone there that can support you is a huge benefit. So it's not this simple. This is a well-intentioned myth and not true to sleep when the baby sleeps. Myth number 4, newborns will sleep when they're tired. Again, you'd think that they would just be able to figure it out naturally, but it's not always the case. So what actually works here is that you should watch for signs that your baby is tired, and you should know about this concept called wake windows and help them go to sleep when they are tired. So sometimes babies will be overstimulated, they'll keep themselves up. So even though they're tired, they won't actually fall asleep. You as the parent can help make sure that they go to sleep when their body is ready to go to sleep, when they're showing signs of tiredness that, they might not naturally fall asleep on their own. So if you're at the end of a newborn's wake window, meaning that they've been up for about 45 to 60 minutes, I know it's pretty short, look for signs of tiredness. They might yawn, they might try to rub their eyes, they might lose interest or stop making eye contact. Those are all signs that baby's tired. At that time, you should put your baby down for sleep or for a nap. Don't rely on them to necessarily fall asleep on their own. If there's stimulation going on, if they're not put in their swaddle or put their sound machine on, things like that, they might just stay up for too long, causing overtiredness, getting into this cycle of not getting good sleeps because they're overtired, which causes more overtiredness, which causes more disrupted sleep. You don't want to be in that cycle. So watch for those signs of sleepiness, those sleepy cues. Pay attention to wake windows and make sure that your baby goes to sleep when they are tired because they might not be able to do it on their own. Myth number 5, newborns need absolute silence to sleep well. This is actually very false. My babies and many babies sleep best when they have a sound machine on. So this level of whether it's white noise or brown noise or whatever color noise you like, having this low level noise is very helpful for them to sleep. It helps drown out noise of the household, and it also recreates what they experienced in the womb. If you think about it, when you were pregnant and they were inside of you, they were constantly exposed to these kind of just white noise like sounds inside of your body, your heart beating, your blood vessels, blood rushing around, like all the different sounds that were inside of your body, your baby experienced, and this brought them comfort. So if we can recreate those same types of noises now that they're out in the real world, you can help bring them comfort, help give them a great sleep environment. And this does not come from total silence. They're actually not used to having total silence for sleep. So having white noise can really help them with their sleep. This also creates a really great positive sleep association. So for example, my 15-month-old now, he knows that once the sound machine comes on, it's time for sleep. Like he's learned to recognize the pattern that, okay, sound machine goes on, mom's puts me down to sleep, and now I fall asleep. It's a beautiful thing, and it's one that can last for a very long time. It's even working great still with my 2-year-old toddler. He hears his white noise go on, and he knows that it is time to go down for a nap. It is beautiful. Myth number 6, formula-fed babies sleep better than breastfed babies. There is actually not science that backs this up. So I've heard this. Many of you have probably heard this as well. The reality is when it comes to baby sleep, it doesn't matter how you feed your baby. The most important part is that you're feeding your baby in whatever way works best for your family, for you, for your baby. It has nothing to do with their quality of sleep or how well they sleep or how long they sleep. So don't worry if you are formula feeding your baby. Don't worry if you are breastfeeding your baby. It has no impact on baby sleep as long as they are getting enough food to grow and to be healthy. I've personally breastfed all 5 of my babies, and they've all been, well, after I had many hiccups with learning with the first one as a first-time mom when I didn't know anything about newborn sleep, they've all been excellent sleepers. So, and they've all been breastfed. So this myth is definitely not true from personal experience. And then just the science and the research simply does not back it up. Doesn't matter how you feed your baby in the best way that works for you and your family when it comes to newborn sleep. And myth number 7, this is a big one. If your baby wakes up at night, they must be hungry. This is not necessarily true, though it could be true. So for a newborn, their stomachs are very, very small, and so not much can fit in them. So when you have a newborn that's just a couple of days or even a couple of weeks old, it is very likely that the reason that they're waking in the middle of the night is that they're hungry. However, it's not necessarily the case. Babies can wake for other reasons as well. They might be uncomfortable. They might be scared. They might, have woken themselves up, right? There can be any number of reasons that a baby wakes up in the middle of the night. It's not necessarily hunger. So how do you know if it's hunger? First of all, by kind of tracking feedings. I use a free app to do this that I've used with all of my kids. It's super helpful. I know that if my baby wakes up after a very short amount of time, if they were fed an hour ago and they woke up again, they're probably not hungry. So it's probably something else. Maybe they have gas. Maybe they need a diaper change. Maybe they simply need some comfort. So by creating kind of keeping track of when you fed the baby and eventually having more of a schedule, you can really determine, are they waking because they're hungry or are they waking for some other reason? And you can address that need sooner. So strategies I use an app to track feedings so that I know the amount of time it's been since their last feeding. I get them onto a feeding schedule or at least pattern. I still feed on demand when the baby shows signs of hunger, but I feed them, every 2 to 3 hours during the day, and then as directed by my pediatrician at night for those early newborn days. Those things really seem to help. And then, of course, just understanding what those cues are for hunger, for tiredness, for gas, so that if your baby is exhibiting a hunger cue and it's been a while since they've last eaten, they probably are hungry and you should go ahead and feed them. But if you fed them recently and they're not showing those hunger cues, you probably want to start looking into, do they have gas? Do they need to be burped? Or do they simply need to be resettled if they're overtired? Now that you've learned about the 7 most common baby sleep myths that we have debunked, I hope that you are well on your way to knowing more about baby sleep and what are some of the things that you can do to help your baby have better sleep. Just as a reminder, there is a free guide that I have on newborn sleep with expert tips and sleep schedules is there for you in the link in this video description. I also have my bigger, longer, better baby sleep guide that is a digital PDF that's also linked in the description below. Lastly, if you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I produce videos like these very frequently that will help you just be more confident and feel more supported with knowledge, information, and real-world experience as you navigate the journey to parenthood. I hope this helps. We'll see you in the next video.